Peace and Pan-Africanism. Well, tonight I'm going to be acting as the defense attorney for our young brother, Brendan Depa, 18 years old. This young brother who stands 6'6" tall, 270 pounds. Earlier this year, February the 21st of 2023, the day Malcolm X was taken from us by the U.S. government and jealous Negroes in the black community. February the 21st, the day Malcolm left us. The day after the Honorable Frederick Douglass left us on February the 20th, Brother Brendan Depa attacked a teacher's aide. I want y'all to remember that. Aide, not the teacher, but the teacher's aide. There's a reason I'm drawing that distinction. I'm going to say it again. He didn't attack the classroom teacher. He attacked the classroom teacher's aide. I want y'all to stay with me tonight, brothers and sisters, because we're about to walk through this. I hope y'all ready to walk through this with me. I hope y'all ready to walk through this with me, because what we're not going to do is let the state of Florida lynch this brother legally. We're not going to let them do that. We're not going to let them do that. This brother can get up to 30 years. This child can get up to 30 years in prison. Do you know what that means, brothers and sisters? That means he will not be getting out of jail until he's almost 50 years old. He will not be getting out of jail until he's almost 50 years old. He will not be getting out of jail until he is almost 50 years old. And I submit to the court of public opinion. I submit to the state of Florida. I submit to the State Department of Education of Florida. I submit to the principal and administration of Matanzas High School of the Flagler School District. I submit to the superintendent of the Flagler School District, and I submit to the Board of Education for Flagler Schools that Brendan Depa was a victim, and that he was more of a victim than that woman who unfortunately was attacked. I want to say that again. Brendan Depa is the biggest victim in this case. And when I'm done breaking this case down, brothers and sisters, when I'm done breaking this case down, brothers and sisters, when I'm done breaking this case down, you're going to agree with me. And you're going to agree with me that the state of Florida violated this young man's civil rights, educational rights, and mental health rights. When I'm done tonight, you're going to agree with me that the Flagler School District of Florida violated this young man's civil rights, his educational rights, and his mental health rights. When I'm done tonight, you're going to agree with me that the school board of Flagler Schools, the superintendent, every school board member, and the chair violated this man's educational rights, civil rights, and mental health rights. This is Attorney Ifa Tunde. This is Attorney Ifa Tunde. And I want to submit to the court, before I present my evidence, that this young man needs to go free, and that the Flagler School District and the Matanzas High School and the State Department of Education for Florida owes this man compensatory education. They owe him restitution for exploiting him, abusing him, never properly educating him, or providing him with the appropriate mental health care. And I'm also going to say that his white foster parents, I got to say it, if we're going to be honest, we're going to be honest tonight. I must also say respectfully to his white foster parents. Respectfully, I must say to Brother Brendan Depa's white foster parents, you failed this young black boy. You failed him as much as the school failed him. You failed him as much as Flagler School District failed him. You failed him as much as his teacher, his principal. You failed him as much as all of the white racist institutions in the state of Florida failed this young man. I have to say that. No disrespect, because I know y'all are up in age, but I got to call a spade a spade. This young man has been your foster child since he was an infant. This young man has been your foster child since he was an infant. This young man has been your foster child since he was an infant. And according to what I've researched, and forgive me for not having all the information, but I believe I have enough information here Given my experience, expertise, and training in the field of mental health, remember, I am a doctor of clinical psychology. I am trained in the effective diagnosis and evaluation and treatment of mental illness. I am a certified school psychologist. I am trained and experienced in the effective evaluation and classification of mental health disabilities in the school system. So you're dealing with an expert, 25 plus years in the game I've been. And to Brendan's foster parents, you failed this young man. You failed him. I don't even know why y'all bothered to be foster parents, so y'all was not going to look out for this black boy. I hope y'all didn't exploit him for money. I hope y'all didn't exploit him for money. I'm not going to spend too much time on y'all because y'all not the biggest issue here. Y'all not the biggest issue here because even though y'all might have exploited this young black man for money, because we all know in the foster care system, the black children with the most problems get the most money. We all know in the foster care system, black children with the most problems get the most money. We already know in the foster care system, black children with the most problems get the most money. And so based on what I see, respectfully, to Brendan's white foster parents, y'all used them, got paid off of this young black boy, and you didn't do a damn thing to protect him from that racist mental health and educational system down there in the state of Florida. Now, with that, we're going to get started. But I first want to let everybody know you need to hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. We got a school to build. Hit the Cash App, $FDMG School. Hit the Cash App. We're about to get into the court case. This is attorney Ifa Tunde defending my client, Brendan Depa, against the school district of Flagler, the Mantazas High School, the State Department of Education for Florida, and the mental health system for the state of Florida and Palm Coast, Florida. I'm the attorney tonight. I'm the attorney tonight. I'm the attorney tonight. Hit your PayPal for my international Africans, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Hit the PayPal for the international Africans, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Brothers and sisters, tomorrow, Art of Dialogue podcast interview. Tomorrow, Art of Dialogue podcast interview. Next Wednesday and Thursday, HBCU Delaware State. Next Wednesday and Thursday, HBCU Delaware State Black Farmers Conference. Wednesday and Thursday. If you need the link to register, just text me. If you need the link to register, just text me. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland. I will see you Friday, November the 10th. Baltimore, Maryland. I will see you Friday, November the 10th. Doors open up at 5 o'clock. The lecture will be from 6 until 8. And in Baltimore, brothers and sisters, we will be at the Urban Reads Bookstore, 3008 Greenmont Avenue. Urban Read Bookstore in Baltimore, 3008 Greenmont Avenue. And then the next day, 1111. 1111. Saturday, 1111. Join me at the NatTurnerLibrary.com. Join me in Emporia, Virginia, when we celebrate Nat Turner in the Army and all of our great African ancestors who paid the ultimate cost for black liberation. They say Veterans Day. Oh, we celebrating our veterans of the African Liberation War. Veterans Day. Oh, we got our own Veterans Day, but we celebrate it on 11/11. We got our own Veterans Day where we celebrate Gabriel Prosser and Denmark Vesey and Toussaint L'Ouverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Bookman and Mac Condal and George and Jonathan Jackson, Fred Hampton, our apprentice Bunchy Carter, John Huggins. Oh yeah, we got our Veterans Day where we celebrate the black veterans of the African Revolutionary War front. So that will be on Saturday, Nat Turner Land. Chicago, I will see you on the 16th, but that's for an interview. I will not be lecturing. Chicago, I will see you on the 16th, but that's for an interview. I will not be lecturing. Memphis, Tennessee, Saturday, November the 25th, Black Parent Boot Camp. Memphis, Tennessee, Saturday, November the 25th, Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp. We will be at 2234 Lamar Avenue in Memphis. 2234 Lamar Avenue in Memphis, Saturday, November the 25th, Norwood, Massachusetts. Where my New England Africans at? Norwood, Massachusetts. Where my New England Africans at? Norwood, Massachusetts. Where my New England Africans at? Norwood, Massachusetts, Thursday, November the 30th, 5 until 9. And we will be at Revent Space 884 Washington Street. Revent Space 884 Washington Street. That is Norwood, Massachusetts, Thursday night, November the 30th. If you need the flyer, text my cell. You all know the number, 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Omaha, Nebraska, where y'all at? Where my Nebraska Africans at one time? Where my Nebraska Africans at? Omaha, I'm coming back on Saturday, December the 2nd. And in Omaha, Nebraska, doors open up at 3 o'clock on Saturday, December the 2nd. And we will be at 4224 North 24th Street in Omaha, Nebraska. 4224 North 24th Street, Omaha, Nebraska on Saturday, December the 2nd. Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas. Where y'all at? With my Kansas City, Kansas and my Kansas City, Missouri Africans. I will see you on Sunday, December the 3rd in Kansas City, Missouri. Doors open up at 3 o'clock in Kansas City, Missouri, Sunday, December the 3rd. And we will be at Deja Vu. We will be at Deja Vu, 4926 Swope Parkway, SWOPE, 4926 Swope Parkway, Kansas City, Missouri, Sunday, December the 3rd, 3 p.m. Black Parent Advocate book signing, power lecture, HBCU Dell State, let's get it. Baltimore, Maryland, let's get it. Nat Turner Land, let's get it. Memphis, Tennessee, let's get it. Norwood, Massachusetts, let's get it. Omaha, Nebraska, let's get it. Kansas City, Missouri, let's get it. If you need the flyer, text my cell. And let me say this. I need some flyers done, and I shouldn't have to pay for the work that I do. I need some flyers. If there's anybody out there who designs flyers and you're willing to donate a flyer, text my phone. I will send you the information. I need flyers for all the events I just listed. If you are a graphic designer and you don't mind throwing a flyer together for Dr. Umar for one of these events, text my phone. I will send you the info. I should not have to pay for flyers with all the work that I put in for African people and African children. 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Now let's get to business. Let's get to business. We're talking Brenda Depa. Brendan Depa, 6'6", 270-pound boy. 6'6", 270-pound boy. 6'6", 270-pound boy. Let me give you the statistics. Brendan Depa, 17 years old, February the 21st, 2022, attacked the teacher's aide in the classroom at Matanzas High School, Palm Coast, Florida. He attacked his teacher's aide for taking his Nintendo Switch. He attacked the teacher's aide for taking his Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm going to stop right there. Why was he allowed to play the game at all in school? Why was he allowed to have the game at all in school? What are the classroom rules in his classroom for having video games? Is he allowed to have it? Is he not allowed to have it? What was he doing with it? Is this the first time he tried to play with that game? We need statistics. We need more information. And I want all you brothers and sisters to understand as we go through this case, we don't have all the information. I have more questions than answers. I have more questions than answers. And one of my first questions, why was he allowed to play with the video game? Why was he allowed to have a video game in school? Has he been allowed to play with that video game before? And what has been the past consequences for playing with the video game? Now, he's 18 years old now, but he was 17 at the time of the offense. He was first charged as a juvenile. Listen to me, y'all. He was charged as a juvenile, and they upgraded the charge to an adult. He was charged as a juvenile, and they upgraded the charge to an adult. So my question is, why did they upgrade? Why was he reclassified as an adult? They initially charged him as a child. Why did they reclassify him as an adult? And in case you don't know, brothers and sisters, If you have a problem with me repeating, get off my live because I'm going to block your silly ass. If you have a problem with me repeating, get off my live because I'm going to block your silly ass. This is my page, not yours. If you don't like it, get off. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, the state of Florida tries more black children as adults than any state in America. The state of Florida tries more black children as adults than any other state in America. The state of Florida tries more black children as adults than any other state in America. He is being charged as an adult, although he was 17 at the time of the offense. He's being charged with first-degree felony. First-degree felony, aggravated battery of an education employee. First-degree felony, aggravated battery of an educational employee. First-degree felony, aggravated battery of an education employee. Let me stop right there for a minute. Can somebody answer me a question? How is it possible that they couldn't downgrade this brother's charge, but they downgrade the charge of every white person that kills black people? Can somebody help me understand? They couldn't downgrade the charge of this child, but y'all downgrade the charge of every white person who kills a black person. Do y'all remember O.J. Owens in the state of Florida? That black single mother who was shot through the door by a white snow bunny? Susan Lawrence is the white woman who murdered A.J. Owens when she went to her house to reclaim her son's video game or laptop. The white lady shot and killed that single black mother through the door. This was over the summertime. Same state that Brendan lives in, same state of Florida. That white woman was not charged with first-degree murder. She was not charged with second-degree murder. She took a life and she only got manslaughter. She took a life and she only got manslaughter. And guess what? Susan Lawrence, the white woman who shot and killed our sister A.J. Owens, the manslaughter charge in Florida means she can get as little as 10.5 years and as much as 30. She can get as little as 10.5 years for killing Sister AJ, or as many as 30. Brother Brendan, who was a child at the time of his offense, he can get a maximum of 30 years. So let me ask the jury a question. Do you think it is fair that a black child who attacked his teacher's aide should get the same amount of time as an adult who shot and killed another human being who was unarmed? I'm going to ask y'all this question again. Both incidents took place in Florida. Both crimes took place in Florida. Both attacks took place in Florida. I'm going to ask you again. Do you think a 17-year-old boy with multiple disabilities who was not receiving the services he was legally entitled to, do you believe he should go to jail for the same amount of time that an adult who shot an unarmed mother through her front door? Are those crimes equal? 17-year-old boy punches and kicks his teacher's aide. Grown white woman shoots and kills a black woman through her metal screen door. Do you think they should both go to jail for 30 years? Absolutely not. How can murder be equal to punching and kicking? How can murder be equal to punching and kicking? How can murder be equal to punching and kicking? We just getting started. The high school is Matanzas High School. The high school is Matanzas High School in Palm Coast, Florida. If you live in Palm Coast, Florida, I'm talking to the Africans. If you live in Palm Coast, Florida, can you please let me know when this young man is going to be sentenced Brother Brendan has to go back to court. He's going to be sentenced, I believe, on January the 17th or January the 31st. I need someone to look that up for me. I plan on being there at the sentence. I'm going to say it again. I plan on being present at Brother Brendan Depa's sentence before the court. I'm coming to that hearing. I want to be there to hear the sentence. And if I am allowed, I would like to speak as a professional in the field before the judge executes the sentence on this child. Because what they are doing to him in Florida is an absolute lynching. He does not have his biological parents. He has 2 white foster parents he has been living with since he was an infant. I didn't see anything about his biological parents. He is with 2 white foster parents, a man and a woman, who have been with him since he was an infant. And I don't believe they ever took proper care of this young man. I'm going to say that again. His white foster parents got paid off of him. They used him, and they did not properly advocate for him. That's what I feel. Now, let's talk about Matanzas High School. Y'all ready for this? Let's talk about Matanzas High School. The school is 10% black in racist Florida. I want to set the context because I'm about to go in. But I need y'all to get the context. The school is only 10% black, 62% white, 16% Hispanic, 10% black, 62% white, 16% Hispanic. Let me say it again. 10% black, 62% white, 16% Hispanic. Okay? Does everybody know what that means? Y'all do know what that means, right? He was in a predominantly white school where he was being mistreated, racially profiled, and targeted by that teacher's aide, by the teachers, by the principal, by the special ed department. The boy was being mistreated and he got tired of it. I'm not justifying the abuse because no woman should ever be attacked. Black, white, brown, yellow, red. I will never condone the assault of any woman, regardless of race. She should have never been attacked. My premise tonight is not that she deserved the beating she got, because she didn't. No mother deserves that, and her children should not have had to see that replayed on YouTube. But my premise is she was a secondary victim. Brendan was the primary victim, and the true criminals in this case are the principal of Matanzas High School, the superintendent of Flagler Schools, the chair of the school board for Flagler Schools, the chair of the special ed department for Flagler Schools, whoever runs the mental health system for that section in Florida. They are the real criminals. Brendan is innocent, and so is the teacher he attacked. Brendan is innocent, and so is the teacher he attacked. And if Brendan would have gotten what he deserved, if Brendan would have gotten the services that he deserved, the attack would have never happened. I'm going to go over all of this. If he would have gotten the proper psychological services, the proper IEP services, the proper psychiatric services, the proper psychological evaluations, that teacher would have never been attacked. In the state of Florida, Flagler School District in the Matanzas High School is making him a scapegoat. They making him a scapegoat. Brendan Depa is being made a scapegoat by all of these Caucasians. His foster parents are Caucasians. The school is all Caucasian. I went on their website. I went on the Matanzas High School website. I only saw 2 black employees. They might have more, but they don't have many. I was on the school's website. You could go on the website right now while you're listening to me. Matanzas. Matanzas. Matanzas High School, Palm Coast, Florida. I only saw 2 black employees. They might have more, but they don't have many. Only 10% black students in that school. Let's continue. Brandon's attorney, Kurt Tiefke, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Forgive me, Tiefke. Kurt Tiefke, a Caucasian. Everybody involved is a Caucasian. Let me say this again. I don't see no black people. Where's Benjamin Crump when you need him? I don't see no black people. Where's Benjamin Crump when you need him? I don't see no black people. Where's Benjamin Crump when you need him? I don't see no black people involved in trying to save this young black boy. I don't see no black people involved trying to save this young black boy. I don't see any black people involved trying to save this young black boy. The foster parents are white. The lawyer is white. The principal is white. The superintendent is white. Chair of the school board is white. The teacher is white. They're going to try to lynch this boy if we don't stand up. They're going to try to lynch this boy if we don't stand up. They're going to try to lynch this boy if we don't stand up. So the attorney said he counseled Brendan to take a plea deal. Hold on for a minute. I'm not an attorney. Most of you are not an attorneys, but can I ask y'all a question? Let me ask you a question. If your 17-year-old son attacked a teacher's aide after constantly being bullied, picked on, criminalized, and targeted, and he got locked up at 17 years old with $1 million bond, Brother Brendan has a $1 million bond. Okay? Would you advise the attorney to counsel your child into taking a plea deal that could put him in jail until he's 50 years old? I'm going to ask the question again. I'm going to ask the question. To Kira, no coonish comments, baby. I'm here to defend this young black brother. If you have sympathy for the Snow Bunny, you have a right to. Like I said, I do not appreciate the fact she was attacked. She is a victim. What happened to her is wrong. But this brother is a bigger victim than her. And the question I'm asking you all tonight, do you believe he should go to jail until he's 50 years old for the next 30 years because he did not have the supports and the services that he was legally entitled to? So if you are on my chat with sympathy for the Snow Bunny, please get off the chat. I am not celebrating her attack. It was wrong. What happened to that white woman was wrong. The point that I'm making, Brendan is not the criminal. The school system is the criminal. The IEP team is the criminal. The school psychologist is the criminal. The superintendent is the criminal. The chair of the school board is the criminal. That's the point that I'm making. The foster parents got paid off this boy. The mental health system got paid off this boy. The special ed program got paid off this boy. Matanzas High School got paid off this boy. And you mean to tell me all these people exploited this boy for 17 years and he's going to take the fall because he never got the services he should have received? Let's continue. That lawyer had no business counseling this young man to take a plea deal for 30 years. That lawyer had no business. That Caucasian had no business counseling this young man to take a plea deal. Who agrees with me? Who agrees with me that a 17-year-old child who just turned 18 ain't got no business being counseled by his white lawyer to take a plea deal that could lock him up for 30 years? The same amount of time that the white woman who shot and killed Sister AJ with a gun, same amount of time she can get. How can his attack be equal to the same punishment as a murder? How can a couple punches and a couple kicks be equal to murder with a weapon? Let's continue. The judge, Chris France, the teacher's aide, Joanne Nadich, is the teacher's aide. I'm giving y'all the facts and then I'm going to go into my cross-examination. Circuit Court Judge Terrence Perkins set the sentencing for January 31st to January 17th. Can somebody please Google? Can somebody please find out when is Brendan Depa? His name is spelled Brendan, last name Depa. He has the last name of his white foster parents. He has the last name of his white foster parents. He has the last name of his white foster parents. Brendan, Brendandepa. Brendan Depa. Can somebody in Florida go on the court's website and find out the exact date, the exact time, and the exact address of the sentencing hearing? Because Dr. Umar plans to be there. Dr. Umar plans to be there. Dr. Umar plans to be there. Let's continue. An open plea to the court means that Brendan's defense attorney hasn't reached any agreement with the prosecutors on a possible sentence. Did y'all hear what I just said? Brendan's case is an open plea to the court. That means his lawyer hasn't reached any deal with the prosecutors for this 18-year-old boy's sentence, but you encouraged him to plead guilty. I'm not an attorney, but why would you encourage a 17, 18-year-old boy to plead guilty and you don't even have an agreement with the prosecution on a sentence, brothers and sisters? Did y'all hear what I just said? The lawyer counseled him to plead guilty, and the lawyer doesn't have an agreement with the prosecution on how long this boy is going to be sentenced to jail. Text that to my phone, please. 215-989-9858. Text that to my phone. 215-989-9858. Next up, according to the record, Brendan Depa has 3 prior misdemeanors. 3 prior misdemeanor battery charges. He was locked up 3 times before for beating people up. He was locked up 3 times before for beating people up. He was locked up in March of 2019. He was locked up in April of 2019. He was locked up in June of 2019. I'm going to say it again. He was locked up in March of 2019. He was locked up in April of 2019. He was locked up in June of 2019. So let me ask the Flagler School District a question. This is a question for the superintendent. This is a question for the director of special education. This is a question for the chair of the school board. This is a question for the superintendent. This is a question for the principal of Matanzas High School. This is a question for the chair of the school board. Why was this young man, who is clearly a violent youth offender, clearly a violent youth offender, clearly a violent youth offender, diagnosed with autism, diagnosed with post-traumatic slavery disorder? Let me give it to you now, brothers and sisters. Oh yes, let me give it to you now, brothers and sisters. Listen to his diagnoses. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for this? He was diagnosed with ADHD, autism, oppositional defiant disorder, intermittent explosive disorder. Did y'all hear that? Intermittent explosive disorder. Did y'all hear that? Intermittent explosive disorder, ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, mood dysregulation disorder, mood dysregulation disorder, mood dysregulation disorder, anxiety, and to top it all off, this poor child, this poor black boy, not only did he have ADHD, not only does he have anxiety, not only does he have oppositional defiant disorder, he has mood dysregulation disorder, he has intermittent explosive disorder, and guess what else he has? Y'all ready for this one? Post-traumatic stress disorder. All charges need to be dropped. Post-traumatic stress disorder. What kind of lawyer does he have? Post-traumatic stress disorder. What kind of foster parents does he have? Post-traumatic stress disorder. What kind of judge? You would think this was a case from 100 years ago. This is happening right now, brothers and sisters. Are we going to show up to the court hearing together? Or who's going to go with me? Who's willing to go with me to Brother Brendan's sentencing? Anybody out there? I got any alpha males out there? Any sisters out there? I want us to show up and let this black boy see for once in your life. For once in your life, you're going to see some black people who care about you because you ain't got nothing but Caucasians around you. Who wants to go to the court hearing? I need somebody to text me the address. Where's it going to be held at? I need the court address. Stop being lazy. Stop depending on YouTube. Text me the information, Florida Africans. Text me the information, Florida Africans. 215-989-9858. I'm not booking your flight. You got to book your own flight. I can't afford that, my brother. You got to book your own flight. I can't afford that. Okay? So somebody please text me the information. I'm going to advertise it. This is part of what I have to do as the leader and founder of the national movement to save black boys. The leader and founder of the national movement to save black boys. The leader and founder of the National Independent Black Parent Association. I'm coming to this young man's court hearing. Does anybody know, can somebody say something before the judge makes his sentence? I'm talking to my lawyers out there. Is it possible for me to make a statement before the judge renders his sentence? Is it possible? Can someone from the public inside of the court, can a professional offer a statement on Brendan's behalf before the judge pronounces the sentence? Okay? Let's continue, brothers and sisters. Let's continue. Y'all ready? We're going to keep. So he was locked up 3 times before. He got 6 major mental health diagnoses. He got 6 major mental health diagnoses. Let me stop for a minute. I have a question for the principal of Matanzas High School. I have a question for the special ed coordinator at Matanzas High School. I have a question for the IEP team at Matanzas High School. I have a question for the director of special ed for Flagler School District. I have a question for the superintendent of Flagler School District. And I have a question for the chair of the school board at Flagler School District. I have 3 questions. Question number 1. Why did y'all tell his foster parents that y'all could provide him with a free and appropriate public education? They knew his diagnoses. Listen to me, y'all. The school knew his diagnoses. When he came to the school, they had an IEP. They knew his challenges. They knew his problems. They knew his IEP. Do y'all want to know why they still took him into school? Somebody take a guess. Who can answer the question, why did they let him in that public school if they knew he presented with problems they couldn't take care of? Who can answer the question? I want to see who's been listening to Dr. Umar's Black Parent teleconferences. Somebody text the answer. Y'all should know this answer because I've been over it a million times when I do my Black Parent teleconference. Thank you, J. I can't say your name, my brother. Shine Nurse Money. Thank you, Sister Shine Nurse. Thank you, Sister Shine Nurse. You know why they took him? For 2 reasons. They wanted the money that comes with him being a special ed student. They wanted the money that comes with him being a special ed student. They wanted the money that comes with him being a special ed student. But guess what else? They didn't want to spend money to put him in a private school for children with severe mental illness. They didn't want to spend any money to put him in a private school for children with severe mental illness. They didn't want to spend any money to put him in a private school for children with severe mental illness. So who's really the criminal? Who's really the criminal? I can't believe his lawyer. Can somebody find this lawyer? We need to call him up. I'm going to spell his name. I want y'all to call him up because I'm trying to find out how this lawyer didn't present a better argument for this young black boy in court. Why would you convince him to take a 30-year sentence when the boy is innocent? The school failed him. The mental health system failed him. Flagler schools failed him. The principal failed him. His foster parents failed him. Why would you dare counsel him to take a plea deal, brothers and sisters? Why would you counsel this young man to take a plea deal? Let's keep on going. He just completed a program with the Department of Juvenile Defense. And listen to this. The teacher's aide who was attacked. The teacher's aide who was attacked, and we wish her well in her recovery. We have nothing bad to say about her or her family. I want to be clear. We don't support violence against any woman, regardless of race. But here's the issue. They asked her, would she be willing, knowing this boy's true history, psychological history, they asked the Snow Bunny, would you be willing to help him get a lighter sentence? Guess what she said? What do y'all think she said? What do y'all think she said? They said, would you be willing to say something now that you understand the history of his mental illness? Would you be willing to say something on his behalf? And guess what she said? Hell no. Why am I bringing this up? Why am I bringing this up? Do y'all remember the court case over Botham John, rest in peace? How many of y'all remember when our brother Botham John was shot and killed by the Snow Bunny in his apartment? Do y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember Botham John, rest in peace, who was shot and killed by the Snow Bunny police officer in his apartment? She claimed she entered the wrong apartment. How many of y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember Botham John, the white cop busted his apartment, shot and murdered him, and she claimed she entered the wrong apartment? Remember when she went to court? What happened in court? His brother prayed for her, asked for her not to go to jail. The black judge gave her a Bible. Listen to me. See, I want you to see how Negroes operate and how other people operate. I want you to see how we operate and how other people operate. That boy's brother prayed for her in court, gave her a hug, asked the judge or the jury for a lighter sentence, and then the black judge gave her a Bible. Do y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember? He hugged his brother's killer in court. How many of y'all remember that? Now I want you to compare that to this teacher. She took his brother's life and he prayed for her in court and gave her a hug, and the black judge gave her a Bible. Compare that to this teacher's aide. She know this boy had mental illness. She know she was picking on him. She know she was targeting him. She know he was being treated unfairly. She knew he had issues and she did not advocate for him. I'm not blaming her for her attack. But if you understand what this black boy has been through, being in foster care since he was an infant, post-traumatic stress disorder, ODD, anxiety, intermittent explosive disorder, why can't you say anything in his defense? She want him to go to jail for the rest of his life because white folks don't show no mercy. They don't show no mercy. They didn't show us no mercy in the 1600s. They ain't show us no mercy in the 1700s. They haven't shown us no mercy in the 1800s. They ain't shown us no mercy in the 1900s. They ain't show us no mercy in the 2000s. I hope y'all Negroes who love to forgive people who mistreat us. I hope all of you Negroes who love to forgive people for mistreating us, I hope you paying attention right now. I hope y'all paying attention, right? All y'all forgive and forget Negroes. Why she not forgiving and forgetting? This was a boy who might go to jail until he's 50 years old. He's going to lose the first half of his life because he was failed by the school system. This teacher's aide knows it, and she's not going to say a word on his behalf. Let's continue. He was initially charged as a juvenile. They upgraded it to an adult. Keep that in mind. He was initially charged as a juvenile, and they upgraded it to an adult. And guess what? The lawyer told him to take the plea so he can avoid jail time. The lawyer told him to take the plea so he can avoid jail time. Can I ask you all a question? Can I ask you a question? If the lawyer don't have a deal with the prosecutor, if the lawyer don't have a deal with the prosecutor, if the lawyer don't have a deal with the prosecutor, why did you tell this child to take a plea deal that could get him 30 years when you don't have no deal with The prosecutor, and your sole purpose for telling this child to take a plea is to get a lower sentence. How is he going to get a lower sentence when his white lawyer doesn't have a deal with the prosecutor? This is illegal lynching. This is a legal lynching. This is a legal lynching. They set him up. And you know what's so sad about this setup? Do y'all want to know what's so sad about this setup? His white foster parents let it happen. His white foster parents let them set up their foster son. I'm going to say it again. His white foster parents haven't done a damn thing to save this boy from this legal lynching that is about to happen. Will somebody please text me the date, the time, the address of the sentence? I plan to be there. 215-989-9858. I hope some of y'all will show up with me. We're going to have to start standing up for our children, y'all. We're going to have to start standing up for black children. We cannot keep letting the court system destroy lives while they're still living. We cannot keep letting the racist criminal injustice system of America continue to destroy lives while our babies are still living. Let me continue. Listen to this. Let's talk about the Matanzas High School for a minute. Let me give you some context. The Matanzas High School, according to the news, has been beset with violence in recent years. The week of October the 14th, 2 weeks ago, 11 students were arrested in the hallway for fighting. 11 students were arrested in the hallway for fighting. When the principal and the deputies tried to break up the fight, the students started attacking the principals and the deputies. I think we know what kind of school this is, don't we? I think we know what kind of school this is, don't we? Let me ask you a question. Does this sound like a school that is severely, psychologically unhealthy child can get proper help? Does this sound like a school where you would put a severely troubled, psychologically disturbed child? I'm going to ask y'all again. Does this sound like a high school that should have ever given this young man a special ed IEP? Did he have any business being inside of this school? Also, a couple weeks ago at the same high school, a 16-year-old girl was arrested for biting her teacher. A 16-year-old girl was arrested for biting her teacher. A 16-year-old girl was arrested for biting her teacher when the teacher tried to stop her from fighting another girl. Did y'all hear what I just said? Does this sound like the place a child with post-traumatic stress disorder? Does this sound like the school that a child with intermittent explosive disorder? Does this sound like a child, like the place for a child with oppositional defiant disorder, anxiety disorder? Does this sound like a school he should have ever been allowed to go to? What do y'all think? You are the jury tonight. Do y'all think that this was a proper placement for this young man? Do you think that this public school was a proper placement for Brother Brendan? Will the real criminals please stand up? To that teacher's aide who got assaulted, I'm sorry for that, but you should not be looking at this young man. You should be looking at the principal, the IEP team, the superintendent, the chair of the school board. You should be looking at them. They're the reasons you were attacked, not because of him. And I would dare say that I think you criminalized this boy and you targeted this boy. And I'm going to tell you why I say that in a minute. I'm going to come to that in a minute. I'm not justifying the attack. I'm explaining why I think the teacher's aide may have provoked this attack. I'm going to get to that in a second. But let us stay with where we are right now. Now, according to the website for the Flagler School District, According to the website for the Flagler School District, they're currently hiring for all positions. Can I ask you a question? Do you think a school district that's currently hiring in November for every position? Listen to me, African family. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand. Listen to me, African family. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand. Do you think a school district that is still hiring for every position on November the 2nd, do you think this is a place people want to work at? They go to the website, go to Flagler School District's website in Florida, and you will see a sign up. They are hiring for every position. What does that tell you, brothers and sisters? What does that tell you, brothers and sisters? What does that tell you? That tells you that this is no place anybody wants to be. Brendan was a victim. He was not the criminal. Let me continue. The same school district, Flagler School District, was singled out. Oh, wait a minute. Do y'all remember the news story that came out in August about a school, an elementary, a middle school that singled out black students? They brought all the black students to the auditorium. Who remembers this from this past summer? They brought all the black students to the auditorium and told them, I want to read what they told them. Y'all ain't going to believe this. Y'all not going to believe this. Let me see if I got it on my phone. They brought all the black kids to the auditorium. None of the white kids, none of the Asians, none of the Latinos. They brought all the black kids to the auditorium and derided them about their low test scores. Hold on. I'm going to find this. Hold on. Listen to this. I'm reading the article. This is the same school district. This is the same. They brought all the kids. Listen to this. It may be true that no malice was intended when Bunnell Elementary School of Flagler School District singled out all the black students, herded them into the cafeteria, branded them a problem to their face, threatened them with jail or an early grave. Listen, they threatened the elementary black children with going to jail or early grave if they don't score higher on the tests. And they also said that if they do well on the test, they will get fried chicken. I'm reading the article. They brought all the black kids to the cafeteria, derided them for low test scores, told them if they don't raise their test scores, they're going to go to jail or to an early grave. But if they score high, they will get some chicken. Fried chicken. If y'all score high on the test, we're going to get y'all some KFC. Coons, fools, and more coons. Oh, yes. If you don't believe me, Google the article. Google the article. The elementary school of the Flagler School District is called Bunnell. 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 Bunnell Elementary. Look it up. They brought all the elementary black. They didn't bring the white kids and nobody else. Jim Crow. They brought all the black kids to the cafeteria and said, if you don't score high on the next test, you poor black Negroes, you're going to go to jail or an early grave. But if you score high, we're not going to have a pizza party. We're not going to have no cake. We're going to get some chicken for you Florida ninjas. They promised them chicken if they scored high on the test. I'm not making this up because you can't make this up. I'm not making this up because you can't make this up. Please text me date, time, address. Please don't send me half information. Don't send me nothing if you're not going to send me everything. Don't text me at all if you're not going to text me everything. 215-989-9858. If it's too late, get off my live and take your ass to bed. If it's too late, I'm trying to save this young boy's life. I know you only care about yourself, but I'm trying to save this young boy's life. And I think we can do that. I think we can get him off of them 30 years, brothers and sisters. I think we can get him off this 30 years. But I don't want to see no disrespectful comments. We talking about an 18-year-old black boy who was raised by white foster parents, who was taken advantage of and used by everybody in his life. Okay? Nothing's funny right now. Nothing. I'm trying to save this young man's life. Let's continue. Let's continue. The lawyer also told Brendan, he also told his 18-year-old client that he should take a plea deal to avoid trial. The lawyer told Brendan he should take a plea deal in order to avoid trial. Can I ask you a question? Wouldn't you rather go to trial than take a plea deal? I believe there's enough evidence that would lead to an acquittal. Why would you tell? You know why? Because he's poor black boy and the lawyer don't feel like putting on a trial case. He's a poor black boy and the lawyer don't feel like putting on a trial case. He's a poor black boy and the lawyer doesn't feel like putting on a trial case. That's why he counseled him to take a plea deal. Okay? Now, the judge who will sentence him in January could sentence him to as little as probation or as much as 30 years. The judge could sentence him to as little as probation or as much as 30 years. I think we all know he's not getting probation, having put his hands on a white woman. I think we all know Brendan is not walking home with probation in January. Do we have enough common sense to know that, black people? Or do we still have the white Jesus savior complex? Do we have enough common sense to know Brendan ain't going home on probation? Or do some of y'all still have a white Jesus savior complex? Check this out. He was in a fight 1 month prior to attacking the teacher's aide. He was in a fight 1 month prior to attacking the teacher's aide. Let me ask the IEP team a question. The IEP team's job is to develop the program, decide on the placement, and monitor the progress of all special ed children. If he was in a fight 1 month before, and he had been arrested 3 times before, and he got 6 major diagnoses, including post-traumatic stress, intermittent explosive, and oppositional defiant, did y'all develop a positive behavior plan? Did y'all develop a functional behavioral assessment? I got a better question. Y'all ready for this question? Special ed parents, I hope you're listening to this. Special ed parents, I hope you're listening because it might be your son next. If this boy has a history of behavior problems, federal special ed law requires that he have a 1-to-1 aide, a functional behavioral assessment, and a positive behavior plan. I'm willing to bet that Brendan did not have a functional behavioral assessment. I'm willing to bet Brendan did not have a positive behavior plan, not an effective one, not a current one at least. And I'm also willing to bet he didn't have a 1-to-1 aide. Because if Brendan had a 1-to-1 aide, how could he follow the teacher outside the classroom? Where was his 1-to-1 aide? He is required by law to have a 1-to-1 aide. With the history of his behavior problems, he's supposed to have a 1-to-1 aide. Where was the 1-to-1 aide? He didn't have a 1-to-1 aide. You want to know why? And no disrespect to Ben Crump or Lee Merritt, but I would run circles around them when it comes to educational law. No disrespect to Lee Merritt or Ben Crump, but I will run circles around them when it comes to educational law. No disrespect to Lee Merritt or Ben Crump, but I will run circles around them when it comes to educational law. Somebody get Tyler Perry on the phone and see if he will finance my law degree. Can somebody get Tyler Perry on the phone and see if he will finance my law degree? Can somebody get 50 Cent? Where Curtis Jackson at? 50 Cent, can you finance my law degree? Beyonce, can you finance my educational law degree? Jay-Z, can you finance? Puffy, can you finance my education? Rihanna, can you finance my educational? Kanye, can you finance my educational? Magic Johnson, I heard you the newest billionaire. Can you finance my LeBron James? Can you finance my Oprah, can you finance my educational law? Bob Johnson, can you finance my educational law degree so I can travel the country fighting cases like this to keep our children from having their lives destroyed unjustifiably and unnecessarily? Who's going to finance my law degree, brothers and sisters? Who's going to finance my law degree, brothers and sisters? Who's going to finance my law degree, brothers and sisters? Tiger Woods, can you finance my law degree, good brother? Serena, can you finance my law degree, good sister? Let me get back to this. Let's continue. Listen to this. The teacher's aide confiscated the Nintendo device. She took it out of his hands. Can I ask y'all a question? Does the teacher's aide job description include snatching objects out of mentally disturbed students' hands? What do y'all think about that? Do you think the job description for the teacher's aide includes snatching devices out of children's hands? What do you think, brothers and sisters? What do you think? Do you think that was part of her job description? Or did she do it because she was a privileged, racist snow bunny who didn't feel she had to respect this black boy? Because after all, he got white foster parents who don't care about him. He's in a school with only 10% black students. I don't have to respect this black boy. He didn't put the game away. I snatched it out of his hand. In other words, I triggered him. Why would you snatch a video game out of the hands of a boy who is 6'6", 270 pounds, and diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and intermittent explosive disorder? Why did you snatch the game out of the boy's hand? And I'm willing to bet it's not the first time you did it. I'm willing to bet you did it before. I'm willing to bet he threatened you before. I'm willing to bet you and this black boy have had an ongoing relationship problem that the classroom teacher never dealt with. He got sick and tired of being disrespected. He got sick and tired of being treated like a baby. He was sick and tired of being ignored, targeted, criminalized. You triggered that boy. I am not justifying the attack. I am not justifying the attack. I'm saying you intentionally provoked that young man. You intentionally provoked that young man. You snatched his game. You ran out the class. He ran after you. He decided, in his emotionally underdeveloped mind, he decided he wasn't taking this shit no more. Furthermore, Your Honor, I would like to request permission of the court. Furthermore, Your Honor, I would like to request permission of the court. Furthermore, Your Honor, I would like to request permission of the court to interview every student. I want to subpoena every student in that classroom. I want to privately interview every student in that classroom to get their perspective on what happened February 21st inside of the Matanzas High School on the day Malcolm X died. I want to talk to the students because I got a funny feeling that when I talk to his classmates, they're going to give me a different story. See, the media has painted a narrative. The media has painted a narrative. The media has painted a narrative to make the Snow Bunny look like a complete victim and to make Brendan look like a complete predator. Y'all know how the newspapers do when it come to white women. Y'all know how the newspapers do when it come to white women. They wrote this story up to make the white woman look like she's an innocent victim, and they wrote the story up to make Brendan look like he's a complete savage. Can I interview the students in that school? I want to interview the students in his class. I bet you they're going to tell me she triggered him. I bet you they're going to tell me she was picking on him. I bet you they're going to tell me that she was disrespecting that boy and treating him less than a human. He got tired of being the slave on the plantation. He got tired of being the slave on the plantation. I'm not justifying the attack. I'm giving the reason for the attack. She participated in the provocation that led to her unfortunate attack. Let's continue. Oh, listen to this. According to the media, this is not me. According to the media, the teacher's aide personally confiscated the Nintendo device. But on the GoFundMe page, somebody put up a GoFundMe page for the teacher's aide that has raised over $100,000. She has a GoFundMe page that has raised more than $100,000. And on the GoFundMe page, she denies ever taking the video game from that boy. Uh-oh. We got a problem, Houston. Did y'all hear what I just said? So I have a question for the teacher's aide. And I know you're recovering right now. I don't want to add no stress to you, young lady. I know you were 57 years old. You were 57 years old when you were attacked. You were not young. I hope all is going to be fine with you. I hope you recover just fine. Because you were a victim, but so was Brendan. But I want to ask you a question, Miss Teacher's Assistant. Why did your GoFundMe say you never took the Nintendo out of his hand? I'm asking you an honest question. Why did your GoFundMe say you never took the video game out of his hand? If you have nothing to hide, if you were a complete innocent party in this situation, why did your GoFundMe say you did not take the video out of his hand when you actually did? Why did y'all lie to your donors on GoFundMe? Why did y'all lie to the donors on GoFundMe? Is that an honest question? Did the lawyer bother to bring that up to the judge? That the teacher's assistant who was attacked by this boy lied on GoFundMe and said she never took the video game out of his hand? Why was that not brought up in court? And if she's lying about that, what else is she lying about? If she's lying about taking a video game, what else is she lying about? What else happened in that classroom before she snatched the video game and ran out the classroom? And I want to go further. Why haven't we seen footage of what happened in the classroom? Why did the media only show us footage of Brendan chasing her and tackling her and unfortunately attacking her? Where is the footage of her taking the video game? Why can't we see how she approached him? Why can't we see the interaction between my client and the teacher's assistant? Why is it okay for us to see him abuse her, but we can't see her abuse him? Why is it okay for us to see him abuse her, but it's not okay for us to see her abuse him? The GoFundMe said, quote, she never took or even mentioned the Nintendo Switch being taken away from the student. Did y'all hear that? The GoFundMe said she never took or even mentioned the Nintendo being taken away. That is a blatant lie. Not only did you mention it, you took it. Why did you lie on GoFundMe? You were 40 years older than that boy. He was 17, you are 57. He was 17, you are 57. Why would a 57-year-old white woman snatch a video game from a disabled child's hand who is 6'6" tall, 270 pounds, because you thought your snow bunny privilege. You thought your snow bunny privilege. You thought your white superiority complex was going to protect you. You triggered that boy. He's emotionally underdeveloped, according to his therapist. According to Brendan's therapist, emotionally, he is not more than 8 to 10 years old. According to his therapist, emotionally, he is not more than 8 to 10 years old. According to his therapist, he is emotionally not more than 8 to 10 years old. Listen to this. Brendan was staying at a group home in Palm Coast, Florida called ECHO, East Coast Habilitation Options. ECHO, East Coast Habilitation Options. The website describes them as a home agency for behaviorally, intellectually challenged children and young adults. The help wanted ad for ECHO says they help children, teens, and adults with autism, intellectual disability, and behavior challenges. Autism, intellectual disabilities, and behavior challenges. Why didn't the school put Brendan in a private school for children with disabilities? The principal of Matanzas got some explaining to do. The special ed director for this school district got some explaining to do. Did you know Florida was #1 for charging black children as adults? Did you know Florida is also #1 for suspending black children out of school? Let me say that again. Florida is #1 for charging black children as adults in America. Florida is #1 suspending black children out of school. Black students in Flagler School District are 39% of all children suspended multiple times, but they are only 16% of the district. Did y'all hear what I just said? Black children in Flagler schools are only 16% of the children, but they are 49% of children who are suspended from school multiple times. Also in the Flagler School District, there are 52 white males in the AP or mentally gifted program. 52 white males in the AP or mentally gifted program. Guess how many black boys in the entire Flagler School District is in a mentally gifted or advanced placement class? Guess. Who want to take a guess? 52 white boys are in mentally gifted or advanced placement. Guess how many black boys in the entire school district of Flagler are in mentally gifted or advanced placement? 1. There's only 1 black boy in the entire school district. There's only 1 black boy in the entire school district who is in a gifted or advanced placement class. Did y'all know that the Southern Poverty Law Center is suing Flagler, one of 5 school districts they're suing for discriminating against black children? Look at that. Did the lawyer bring this up in the court? Did the lawyer tell the judge that the Southern Poverty Law Center is suing Flagler schools for discrimination against black children? I bet you he didn't. Listen to this. Florida schools have an average of 13% black teachers. Florida schools have an average of 13% black teachers. Flagler schools have only 6.5% black teachers. Flagler School District has only half the state average for black teachers. Florida only has 13% black teachers. Flagler schools only has 6.5% black teachers. Not only that, Flagler Schools is still under a court jurisdiction order, the United States Department of Justice school desegregation order. You know why? Because Flagler has a history of practicing separate but equal. Flagler schools have a history of keeping black kids out, kicking black kids out, and over suspending black kids. And this is the school district that's going to let this boy get sentenced to 30 years in prison because y'all didn't provide him with the services and evaluations and supplemental programs that he needed. I love Sister Tamron Hall, but she too bougie to bring me on her show. I love Sister Tamron Hall, but she too bougie to bring me on her show. I love Sister Tamron Hall, but she too bougie to bring me on her show. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's read the requirements to be a teacher's aide in the state of Florida. In the state of Florida, in order to be a teacher's aide, you need an associate's degree, 2 years of college, and the capacity to assist the teacher with teaching reading, writing, and math. Only 3 requirements to be a teacher's aide in Florida: associate's degree, 2 years of college, and the capacity to assist the classroom teacher with reading, writing, and math. I don't even think this teacher's aide was qualified. I don't even think this teacher's aide was qualified. I don't even think this teacher's aide was qualified enough to be in the classroom with Brendan. He needed a trained behavior specialist, not a teacher's aide. Brendan needed a one-on-one or a trained behavior specialist, not a teacher's aide. Now let's look at the responsibilities of a teacher's aide in the state of Florida. Let's look at the responsibilities of a teacher's aide in the state of Florida. Prepare lesson plans and activities. Help the teacher set up. Prepare lesson plans and activities. Help the teacher set up for lessons. Monitor student progress in programs. I'm going to say it again. Set up materials. Help the teacher prepare for lessons and activities. And monitor student progress in activity. Does it say snatch things out of a child's hand? Does it say act like you're the disciplinarian? Does it say try to control black boy behavior? That's not on the job description. So if the job description for the teacher aide doesn't say control black boy behavior, snatch things out of children's hands, if that's not a part of her job description, what was she doing snatching the Nintendo out that boy's hand? Did he have a functional behavioral assessment? Did he have a positive behavior plan? I got a few more. I'm going to read a statement from the white foster parent in a moment. We're going to be done at 1 o'clock, y'all. We will be done in 30 minutes, 1 o'clock. I'm going to read the foster mother's statement because y'all need to hear it. Brendan's therapist said he has the emotional maturity of a 4 to 6-year-old. The emotional maturity of a 4 to 6-year-old. The foster mom said he was on antipsychotic meds since 2018. He was on antipsychotic meds since 2018. Do you know what psychotic meds does to your mind? Did you know that the antipsychotics can cause emotional and behavioral dysfunction? Did you know antipsychotic meds can cause emotional and behavioral dysfunction? Did the lawyer mention this in court? Did the lawyer do his research on the side effects of antipsychotic meds? They can make the post-traumatic stress disorder worse. They can make the intermittent explosive disorder worse. They can make the anxiety, the oppositional defiant disorder, the autism. Remember, he's also autistic, brothers and sisters. We cannot let them lynch this young man. In the name of our ancestors, we cannot let them lynch this young man. In the name of our ancestors, we cannot let them lynch this young man. And guess what? Y'all ready for this? His foster mother said, listen, I'm going to read her whole statement in a minute. We got 25 minutes to finish. Stay with me, y'all. Are y'all with me? If y'all want me to stop, I'll stop. If y'all want me to keep going, brothers, I need some fists. Sisters, I need some hearts. Are y'all with me, or do y'all want me to stop? Because I'm going to the court hearing. Do y'all care enough about this boy to hang on another 30 minutes? We ain't talking about the past. We talking about the present. Are y'all with me, family? Are y'all with me, family? Okay. His foster mother said that he has a history of being bullied by white students with racial slurs. His foster mother said he has a history of being bullied by white students with racial slurs. Do y'all see where this is going? Do y'all see where this is going? I'm going to say it again. His white foster mom says he has a history of being bullied by white students with racial slurs. Are y'all following me? Do y'all see where the post-traumatic stress kicked in when that white woman snatched his video game? Do y'all see how being bullied, being called the N-word by white students most of his life, and then being targeted and triggered by that teacher's aide who had no business snatching the video game out of his hand? Do y'all see how this could lead to the accident that happened? Foster mom did nothing. Foster dad did nothing. Foster mom ain't doing nothing to save this boy. Foster dad isn't doing anything to save this boy. And listen to this. Listen to this. The foster mother also said that a group of white kids tried to trick him into drinking their urine. Foster mom said a group of white children tried to trick him into drinking their urine. A group of children tried to trick this mentally unhealthy young man into drinking their urine. Brothers and sisters, who think he should go to jail for 30 years? Who think this innocent black boy who was exploited, abused, and left for dead, who think he should go to jail for 30 years? Who thinks he should go to jail at all? Who thinks he should be tried as an adult? I'm about to blow your mind with what I'm about to say next. I know some of y'all saying, is this really happening in America right now? Yes. He's in prison right now. He can't go home because he don't have $1 million bail. His foster parents are not even trying to raise $1 million bail. You know what? Do we need to raise the money? Wait a minute now. When you got to post $1 million bail, what you got to pay? 10%, 20%? How much of the bail do you have to pay, brothers and sisters? Help me out. My brothers who've been to prison, help me out. He has $1 million bail. How much has to be paid for him to get out of jail? He don't have to pay the whole million, right? Is it 10%, 20%? It's not over, brother. I'm not giving up on this child. How much of the million do we have to pay for him to get out of jail? 100 grand? We talking Florida, not Texas. What do you got to pay in Florida? What do you have to pay in Florida? What percentage of the bail in Florida? Can somebody Google that, please? What percentage of the bail in Florida of the $1 million, how much we got to pay to get him out? 10%. We can raise 100 grand. I think we can do it. Y'all want to get him out? I need my Florida. If you in Florida and you want to help do a fundraiser with Dr. Umar, I don't want no money. I don't want a penny. You understand me? This money is going to get our brother out of prison. Okay? If anybody wants to help me with this, text my phone. I'm dead serious. Don't play with me. If you're not serious, don't bother me, because all y'all want to do is sit on YouTube and watch videos all damn day. Y'all don't want to get out in the streets and do no real work. I think we can raise that money. Somebody get Kodak Black and Rick Ross on the phone. Can we get a donation to start it off from Kodak Black and Rick Ross? Can we get a donation from Kodak Black and Rick Ross? Who else is in Florida? Can we get a donation from Kodak Black, Rick Ross? I'm going to call on my sister Suki Hana for a donation. I'm going to call on my sister Suki Hana for a donation. Who else is in Florida, y'all? Who else live in Florida? Uncle Luke. Can we get a donation from Uncle Luke? Can we get a donation from Flo Rida? Flo Rida. Can we get a donation from Flo Rida? Who else is in Florida? Trick Daddy. Can we get a donation from Trick Daddy? Who else is in Little Duval? DJ Khaled. You already owe us for expropriating the culture anyway. DJ Khaled, you overdue for a donation. A bondsman puts up the full amount of a person's bail. 10% fee. OJ, you know OJ Simpson ain't making no donation. He's still bunny hopping. He ain't learned. City Girls, can we get a donation? Let's refocus. Let me hit y'all with this fact right now. Let me hit y'all with this fact. Dwayne Wade, can we get a donation? Gabrielle Union, can we get a donation? Jimmy Butler, can we get a donation? Who the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins? Can we get a donation? Who with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Can we get a donation? Deion Sanders is from Florida. Deion, can we get a donation, my brother? You got a couple endorsements. Can we get a donation from Deion Sanders? Shador, young brother Shador, you got a nice watch deal. Can we get a donation? But let me stay focused. Let me stay focused. Listen to this, brothers and sisters. Listen to what I'm about to say. According to the media, the white foster parents and the white lawyer, allegedly, according to the media, the white parents and the white attorney, according to the media, tried to get the judge to certify Brendan as mentally incompetent to stand trial. Mentally incompetent to stand trial. Mentally incompetent to stand trial. And the judge threw it out. Now, let's go to mental health law. Let's go to mental. I'm going to say it again. Stay with me, y'all. I need y'all to. This is the case breaker right here. This is the. We about to break. We already broke it. We going to break it wide open right now. And I don't know why his lawyer didn't present everything I'm presenting to the judge at the court hearing. I do not understand why this 17-year-old boy's white lawyer did not present all of the information I'm presenting tonight to the judge at the court. Listen. Why did they try to get him certified as mentally incompetent to stand trial? You know why? You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Y'all ready? Because the one thing nobody has brought up in this case, none of the newspapers, no, not his foster parents, the one thing that they are leaving out that I'm bringing up right now as a certified school psychologist, the one thing they leaving out that I'm bringing up right now as a doctor of clinical psychology, the one thing they leaving out that I'm bringing up right now, brothers and sisters, I believe Brother Brendan is intellectually disabled. I believe he has an IQ score below 70. Why is that relevant? If Brother Brendan is intellectually disabled, formerly called mentally retarded, if he is intellectually disabled, he is not competent to stand trial. And I want to know why the lawyer didn't demand that the judge order a psychological evaluation to determine this young man's intellectual functioning, his cognitive intelligence, and an evaluation to determine if he was psychologically fit to stand trial, brothers and sisters. Did y'all hear that? The judge was supposed to order a court-ordered psychological evaluation. A court-ordered psychological evaluation. A court-ordered psychological evaluation to determine if he is intellectually disabled and therefore mentally incompetent to stand trial. Why didn't the lawyer fight for that? Why didn't the foster parents fight for that? Why did the racist judge throw it out? Where is the evaluation? The judge can't do that. The judge can't do that. We have more than enough reason to suspect he might be intellectually disabled. So where is the court-ordered evaluation to confirm that this young man may be intellectually disabled? Are we going to let them lynch our son? I'm sorry for what happened to that teacher's aide, but she should be pointing the finger at the school district. She should be pointing the finger at the superintendent. She should be pointing the finger at the principal. She should be pointing the finger at the IEP team. She is a victim, but Brendan is a victim. And I know she getting paid from the school district. She got a GoFundMe and she getting money from the school district. She got a GoFundMe and she getting money from the school district. That doesn't take away the trauma of being attacked. I understand. My point is her life will go on and he's going to jail for 30 years. Her life will go on and he's going to jail for 30 years when he is the complete victim in this entire case. Now, I have a few questions and then I'm going to read the foster parent statement and I'm done for the night. Once you hear the foster parent statement, y'all going to pass out. So if you got a bad heart, please have a seat. Please have a seat. If you got hypertension, I'm going to need you to sit down when I read the statement from the Snow Bunny foster mom. You want to be sitting down when you hear what I'm about to read. I need y'all to have a seat. I need y'all to have a seat. Okay? Couple questions I got before I read the foster mom statement. Why did he have the game? What were the conditions under which he was allowed to play the game? When was the last time he had a psychological evaluation? When is the last time he had an IEP meeting? Why was he allowed to come into the school instead of being sent to a private school for children with disabilities? Why didn't he have a behavior specialist? Why didn't he have a one-to-one aide? Why was this teacher's aide allowed to snatch the game from him? Why can't we see the footage of the classroom of her snatching the game? Did they have a history of antagonistic relations? Why did the lawyer advise him to plead guilty? Why did the teacher's aide lie on GoFundMe and say she never took the game? Why did the teacher's aide lie on GoFundMe and say she never took the game? Why did the teacher's aide lie on GoFundMe and say she never took the game? Why did the judge throw out the mental incompetence defense without ordering a psychological evaluation? Why did the judge throw out the mental incompetence defense without ordering a psychological evaluation? You cannot do that. That is illegal. I know that because I'm a psychologist. You cannot throw out a mental incompetence defense unless you order a psychological evaluation to prove that the boy is cognitively within the normal range. That boy is intellectually disabled, not just PTSD. He is intellectually disabled. He's not just autistic. He is intellectually disabled. He's not just anxiety. He's intellectually disabled, not just intermittent explosive disorder. And the only reason why the school took him in, they wanted that money and they didn't want to pay for him to get the services he needed. And his foster parents did not advocate for him. His white foster parents did not advocate for him. They were living off of that boy's foster check. I'm going to say it again. His white foster parents did not advocate for him. They were living off of his foster check. And if he wasn't properly diagnosed as intellectually disabled, the school has a lawsuit. If that boy was misdiagnosed or not fully diagnosed, that's a lawsuit against that school district. Is the teacher's aide being paid a settlement from the school? And I want to interview all his classmates. I want to interview all his classmates to get their side of the story because we never saw the footage inside the classroom. We never saw the footage inside the classroom. We never saw the footage inside the classroom. Oh, this is the same district that just got in trouble for transferring $700,000 to a bogus bank account. Did y'all hear me? This school district, flagrant, what's the name of this district again? Palm Coast, Florida. What's the name of this district again? Palm Coast. What's the name of that school district again? What is it? Flagrants, Mantazes. What's the district name? I done forgot the district name already. But this is the same district that just got in trouble for transferring $700,000 to a fake bank account. Did y'all hear that? This district, the same one that called the kids to the auditorium in elementary school and told them they're going to go to jail or go to cemetery if they don't score high. But if you score high, we're going to have a chicken party. Oh, and did y'all also know Flagler, thank you, Flagler School District is currently being sued by 2 black teachers. Flagler School District is currently being sued by 2 black teachers. Flagler School District is being sued by 2 black teachers for discrimination, being denied promotions because they were black. 2 teachers are currently suing the Flagler School District, black teachers, for being denied promotion because they're black. White supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. Are y'all ready to hear the foster mother statement? Who ready for the foster mother statement? And we're going to get out of here by 1 o'clock. Let me pull it up. Foster mother statement to the media. This is going to blow your mind. Listen to this. Let me find it. Let me find it. Let me find it. Bookmarks. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Y'all ready? You can read the whole thing on flaglerlive.com. Flagler Live. This was June 26, 2023. Brendan Depa's mother tells her son's story. And look, she hugged up with him. She loved him so much. She loved her foster son so much, but she never did nothing to get him the help he needed. She loved her foster son so much, she never did nothing to make the schools do right by him. She loved her foster son so much, she didn't even make the judge order a psychological evaluation. She loved her foster son so much, she let her lawyer talk him into taking a plea deal. Here we go. Here we go. He being held in Jacksonville, y'all. He's being held in Jacksonville. Solitary confinement. Depa's family has not addressed the matter until now. Leanne Depa, Brenda's foster mother, speaking on behalf of her son, her husband of 25 years, and the rest of their family, is now breaking their silence. They didn't say nothing from February the 21st until June the 26th. You loved this boy so much, but you didn't say a word in his defense from February the 21st until June the 26th. You loved this black boy so much, you didn't say nothing to protect or defend him from February the 21st until June the 26th. Now let me read. Let me read. Let me read. It saddens us when things in our schools don't always go right or as planned. Our family is filled with concern for Miss Joanne Nadich, the teacher's aide, and we continue to pray for her swift recovery. Our whole family was horrified by what she endured. Nobody deserves this. We are sincerely sorry for our son's actions. We support the needs of students, educators, and staff to feel secure in their school environment. Sharing Brendan's story, we aim to shed light on who he is to us and how a system has let us all down. How a system has let us all down. How a system has let us all down, resulting in the tragic incident on February the 21st. Brendan, who is now 17 years old, joined our family through foster care when he was just an infant. As a baby, Brendan was quite fussy and he struggled in the school setting from the age of 2. Despite our attempts to enroll him in daycare and public school, the busy and noisy environments proved too overwhelming for him, leading to environmentally induced meltdowns. He was easily upset by flies, stickers, and discarded bandages. He was terrified of things other children enjoyed. However, we found that Brendan thrived in smaller and more structured environments, which is why we chose to homeschool him for the most part. How long did y'all homeschool him without giving him the proper help? How long did y'all homeschool him without giving him the proper help? To ensure that Brendan had opportunities for socialization, we enrolled him in co-op class and introduced him to other homeschoolers. You mean to tell me they kept this boy with all these diagnoses in their White House? What grade did he start going to regular school? We got a problem, brothers and sisters. Don't let me find out they kept this boy locked up. They kept this boy locked up in their house. Lord have mercy. I don't believe this. Brothers and sisters, doesn't this sound like it's made up? Doesn't this sound like it's made up? They kept the boy. How do you keep a post-traumatic stress, autism, ODD, ADHD, anxiety, intellectually disabled kid locked up in your house, homeschool? Y'all never... I wonder, what is his reading skill? What is Brendan's reading level? What is Brendan's math level? What is Brendan's comprehension level? What is Brendan's writing level? I bet you that boy isn't even functional. You know why he had the video game? Do y'all want to know why he had the video game? Brendan had the video game because they let him play video all day in school because they don't teach him anything. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again, brothers and sisters. I think we just figured this case out. His foster parents kept him home all them years, finally turned him over to school when he started growing 6'6" because they said he had a growth spurt. He wasn't always 6'6". He had a late growth spurt. So they kept him home. When he got big, they turned him over into the school. He couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't count because his white foster parents never taught him. So they put him in a life skills class. A life skills class where they don't teach you nothing. They let him play on the video game to kill time. The teacher aide was having a bad day and her racism came out. The teacher's aide was having a bad day and her racism came out. The teacher's aide was having a bad day and her racism came out. She snatched the game, triggered him, and he whipped her behind. Everybody's guilty except Brendan. Everybody is guilty except Brendan. Everybody is a criminal except Brendan. I need y'all to call Tyler Perry. I need y'all to call Oprah, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna, Magic, LeBron, Puffy, Bob Johnson, Kanye, Tiger, Serena, and tell them Dr. Umar needs 60 grand to go to law school so he can go around the country and fight for our children who are getting charged on school to prison pipeline. This is the school to prison pipeline right here. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. This is the school. Welcome to the school to prison pipeline. Welcome to the school to prison pipeline. Welcome to the school to prison pipeline. Will Smith, can I get 60K? Let's finish the letter, y'all. Let's finish the letter. We chose to homeschool him for the most part. To ensure that Brendan had opportunities for socialization, we enrolled him in co-op class and introduced him to other homeschoolers. We also went camping frequently with other homeschool families and friends, which he loved, all white kids. Did y'all ever bring him around any black kids? Is this another Colin Kaepernick situation? Is this another Colin Kaepernick? Is this another Colin Kaepernick where the foster parents don't understand that the black boy needs to be around some black people because it doesn't seem like he was ever around any black people? Let me continue. Brendan loved to read and frequently studied the dictionary. Really? Did y'all even have a dictionary? Did y'all even make him read? Did y'all even teach him how to read? Brendan loved to read and frequently studied the dictionary. He astounded others with his vocabulary, while at the same time he had difficulty applying his knowledge to real-life situations, as he is a level 3, the most severe on the autism scale. He's a level 3, the most severe on the autism scale, but you never put him in autistic school. You never took him to an autistic school. You locked him in the house. Brendan loves most people. He is a big hugger, hugging everyone he meets. He even hugs strangers like the pizza delivery guy. Once when we were at Walmart, he was so excited by something his white grandmother was buying him that he lifted her up off the ground and swung her around. That made quite the picture. I wasn't sure whether to laugh or be worried about what the image looked like to other shoppers. Why are you worrying about what white folks think about your black son? If your black son is hugging his white foster grandma, why do you care what the other white people in Walmart are thinking? You know why? Because you're white and you're racist. And that's why you didn't do nothing to save him, because white people want him to go to jail. And since white people want him to go to jail, even though you claim to love him, even though you're the foster mom, you want him to go to jail too. Because at the end of the day, all white people stick together. Let's continue the letter. Let's continue the letter. While Brendan loves people, he has difficulty with friendships because he is fixated on only what interests him. He struggles with being reciprocal, which affects the way people view him, but he has a big heart. As much as he loves food, he always asks to give his food to another homeless person we pass. If we were in a shopping center, he would ask to buy something and then would walk over and give his food to the homeless people. During this time, before the spring of 2017, Brendan was managing in the community by receiving the support he needed through therapy and constant supervision, while under the care of specialists. If he was under the care of specialists, how the hell we end up in this situation? If he was under the care of specialists, who advised you to keep him at home? What specialist advised you to keep him at home? Brendan was diagnosed with autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, mood dysregulation disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety. From a young age, Brendan has struggled with hypersensitivity to sound and texture, poor frustration tolerance, poor emotional regulation, rigidity in his thought process, frequent demonstration of magical thinking, causing difficulty with focusing. Often it seemed like he viewed characters in his video games as real people. For example, when he had severe fears of a mural at Tijuana Flats, a restaurant that I love, the mural advertised the restaurant's very hot sauce by showing a boy standing in a fire, looking over his shoulder with tears running down his face. It terrified Brendan, who thought it represented hell. He was similarly terrified of our museum's Disasterville. He wouldn't get near it or near a shark statue. It was as if everything came to life for Brendan. He thought throwing toilet paper at a police officer would make her go away. Even now, Brendan's therapist reports that he has the emotional maturity of a 4 to 6 year old. If he got the emotional maturity of a 4 to 6 year old, where is he intellectually? If he has the emotional maturity of a 4 to 6 year old, where is he intellectually? If he has the emotional immaturity of a 4 to 6 year old, where is he intellectually? Why is nobody discussing intellectual disability? Why is nobody discussing intellectual disability? You know why nobody's discussing intellectual disability? Because they know if he gets tested, he gets off. If he gets tested, he gets off. If he gets tested through a court-ordered evaluation, they're going to prove he's intellectually incompetent to stand trial, and the charges will sooner or later be dropped. He has no business going to jail. Let's continue. Brendan was first prescribed antipsychotic meds in 2018 to control his heightened aggression during a time that our family was going through tremendous stress. At that time, multiple close family members were experiencing life-threatening conditions, including his grandmother, pictured above, who had pancreatic cancer. Another family member required an emergency craniotomy. So, if the family was going through all this stress, why did y'all decide to stick him in school when the family was going through all this stress? If you was homeschooling a boy, why not homeschool him through the family crisis? Why did y'all send him back to school when he was going through the family crisis? Let's continue. Unfortunately, the medication did little to improve his condition and had onerous side effects. He gained over 100 pounds in 1 year. I'm going to stop. Did y'all hear what I just said? Did y'all hear what his foster mother just said? Did y'all hear what he just... Did y'all hear... I'm going to read it again. Y'all didn't hear me. I'm going to say this again. Unfortunately, the medications did little to improve Brendan's condition and had onerous side effects. He gained over 100 pounds in a year. If your son is starting to gain weight, why didn't you take him back to the psychiatrist and say he can't take these drugs? You need to find something else. You let him gain 100 pounds and you didn't say nothing? You let him gain 100 pounds and you didn't say nothing? Whew, I feel for this young man. I'm going to try to get down there if God would give me the power to do it. This is I'm ready to cry, man. I'm ready to cry, y'all. I'm ready to tear up and cry right now. I'm ready to tear up and cry for this brother. Unfortunately, the medications did little to improve Brendan's condition and had onerous side effects. He gained over 100 pounds in a year, making it challenging for us to manage him. Following guidance from healthcare professionals, I reached out to our local police to have Brendan placed under a Baker Act whenever his aggression resurfaced and we could no longer physically calm him down as we once could when he was smaller by wrapping our arms around him. I think they were abusing that boy. When he started to turn into a man, they started to neglect him. When he started to turn into a man, they started to neglect him. The reason y'all took him in the first place is because he had so many problems, you were able to max out on the foster care allowance. The only reason why you took him is because he had so many problems, you were able to max out on the foster care allowance. The only reason why you took him is because since he had so many problems, you were able to max out on the foster care allowance. Let me continue. How he go from being a sweet little kid to being this big angry boy? Y'all missing something. What's missing from the story? How did he go from being a sweet little kid who liked to hug everybody, now he wants to beat everybody up, and y'all not telling us why? What happened? How did he go from the sweet little black boy to the big, mean, psychologically disturbed child? Let's continue. Whenever the police came to our house, I never knew what response to expect. How many times did y'all call the police to your house? How many times did you call the police to your house? How many times did you call the police to your house, foster parents? Whenever the police came to our house, I never knew what response to expect. Some officer would talk to him and help him calm down. Others would take him to the emergency room for a Baker Act or even arrest him, as was twice the case. So he was arrested twice by the cops at his house, even though that's not what we were seeking. Even though that's not what we were seeking. Even though that's not what we were seeking. Whenever he was hospitalized under the Baker Act, I would plead with the hospital staff to consult with his treating psychiatrist or medication changes. Astoundingly, they never did. The hospital never consulted with the psychiatrist. Did you report the hospital? Did you report the hospital? Did you tell the psychiatrist? Did you report the hospital? Did you tell the psychiatrist? Did you file a complaint with the state against the attending physician at the hospital that was putting your foster son's mental health in jeopardy? Did you report anybody, Snow Bunny foster mother? Let's continue. As a result, his psychiatrist would often change his medication once he left the hospital, which became a frequent occurrence, again with unintended, at times onerous consequences. Did y'all hear what she just admitted? She just admitted medical malpractice. Medical malpractice. She just admitted it. Medical malpractice. And they didn't report nobody. Medical, I'm going to read it. She just admitted. We just cracked the case, y'all. Where is the lawyer? Why is he taking a plea? Why was he consulted to take a plea? Others would take him to the emergency room for a Baker Act or even arrest him, as was twice the case, even though that's not what we were seeking. Whenever he was hospitalized under the Baker Act, I would plead with the hospital staff to consult with his treating psychiatrist or medication changes. Astoundingly, they never did. As a result, his psychiatrist would often change his medication once he left the hospital, which became a frequent occurrence. Y'all hear that? They kept switching the medicine. Dangerous psychiatric meds. They kept switching them. She never tells us which meds he took. She never tells us which meds or how many meds. She never tells us which meds or how many meds. The medicine drove him into a psychotic state. The medicine drove this boy into a psychotic state. They didn't care about him. He was a check. They didn't care about him. He was a check. They didn't care about him. He was a check. Let's continue. At one point in 2019, his neurologist took him off the mood stabilizer that his psychiatrist had prescribed, and he soon began to downward spiral. Y'all heard that? In 2019, they took him off the mood stabilizer. He began to downward spiral, but they never said nothing. During that time, he initially was able to ignore a couple of neighborhood kids that were bullying him, calling him racial slurs. Initially, he was able to ignore the kids who were bullying him and calling him racial slurs. Can I ask a question? Why does he have to ignore the kids? Why didn't y'all call the police? Why didn't y'all talk to the parents? Why didn't y'all talk to the children? Why was this mentally unhealthy boy expected to ignore the bullying and the racial slurs of the white kid? This is sad, family. This is a damn shame. And he about to go to jail for 30 years. Benjamin Crump, is there a reason you didn't take this case? Lee Merritt, is there a reason you didn't take this case? Benjamin Crump, Lee Merritt, is there a reason you didn't take this case? I'm just wondering. Is there a reason why no black attorney volunteered to take this case. I'm just wondering, because this is a slam dunk victory. This is a slam dunk victory. Let me continue. Listen to this. During that time, he initially was able to ignore a couple of neighborhood kids that were bullying him by calling him racial slurs. The bullying continued. Huh? Huh? How did the bullying continue? You are his parents. How did the bully? I don't understand. Why didn't y'all do anything about it? How did the bullying continue? Let's keep on. One day, one of the children attempted to trick him into drinking urine. One day, one of the children attempted to trick him into drinking urine. One day, one of the children attempted to trick him into drinking urine. Then rubbed a tennis ball on his genitals prior to throwing it at him. Then rubbed a tennis ball on his genitals prior to throwing it at him. Then rubbed a tennis ball on his genitals. He got into a confrontation and was arrested. What? He got arrested for defending himself against a bunch of white boys who tried to make him drink urine and rubbed the tennis ball on their nuts and threw it at him, and he got arrested. And y'all probably didn't do nothing about that. Listen to this. The other individual was not disciplined. The other individual was not disciplined. What did y'all do about it? I vividly recall during the emergency room trip, a doctor telling me to expect the teen years. For the doctor telling me to expect the teen years, what to expect in the teen years for someone with autism spectrum. She's still talking about autism. She's still talking about, that's not the biggest problem. The autism ain't. I vividly recall during an emergency room trip, a doctor telling me to expect what to expect in the teen years for someone with autism spectrum disorder, that they would be tough because of the added component of hormone changes. He told me it would all start to calm down after he made it through puberty. It did not. No joke. Y'all had already cooked his brain with all them drugs. Listen, medicating the impossible. Frequently, new medications were added. Frequently, new medications were added until he was taking a cocktail of medication, which left us with no clue as to what was helping and what was causing more harm. Left us with no clue as to what was helping and what was causing more harm. Left us with no clue as to what was helping. Why didn't y'all give him back to the system when y'all know y'all couldn't take care of him anymore? Why didn't Brendan's white foster parents turn him back into the system after they realized they couldn't take care of him? You know why they didn't give him up? Who want to take a guess? Question of the hour. Why didn't his white foster parents give him back to the foster care system when they realized they couldn't take care of him? Anybody want to take a guess? Somebody take a guess. Why didn't they give him back? Take a guess. Everybody knows the answer. Money. Thank you. Money, 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 money. Y'all used him, y'all abused him, y'all exploited him, and he's suffering because of it. This is a damn shame. It is not always clear how different combinations of medication will affect an individual. Unfortunately, it can often be a process of trial and error. As you can imagine, when you're trying to help a child with a unique nervous system, experimenting with various mind-altering medications can lead to unpredictable, at times uncontrollable, and unintended outcomes. So guess what was responsible for the teacher assistant being attacked? The drugs. What was responsible for the teaching assistant being attacked? The drugs. What was responsible for the teaching assistant being attacked? I don't even know if it's the disabilities. I don't even know if it's the disorders. It's the damn drugs. His mind was cooked from all the drugs he was taking since he was a little boy. Let's continue. Changes in medication cocktails were not the only problem. Studies have shown that individuals with autism have a stress system that operates. She keep talking about autism. This ain't got nothing to do with no damn autism. Stress system that operates differently than those who are neurotypical. The nervous system in its various states does not function as intended, and when combined with hormonal changes during adolescence can have lasting effects on the stress response system. Individuals with autism quickly perceive threat and overreact to negative situations, leading to constant feelings of insecurity, heightened emotion, poor decision making compared to typical teenagers going through puberty. Although it was clear that long-term hospitalization was necessary, listen up, here we go. Listen, here we go. Although it was clear that long-term hospitalization was necessary to properly adjust Brendan's meds, you will not be surprised to know that the insurance company created numerous lengthy obstacles. They blaming insurance. I'm blaming them, and I'm blaming the school, and I'm blaming the system. Don't put this on insurance. Do not put this on insurance. You know what the problem was? Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for, I'm about to drop a Marcus Garvey grenade. Who ready for the Marcus Garvey grenade? Here's another question. This is the Marcus Garvey grenade. Why do y'all think his white foster parents never admitted him to long-term hospital care? Take a guess. Why do you think the foster parents are trying to blame the insurance company? Why didn't they admit Brandon for long-term hospital care to get his medicine under control? Guess what the answer is? Y'all already know the answer. What's the answer, y'all? Why didn't they admit him for hospitalization? What's the answer, y'all? Come on. Money, 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 money. If he goes into the hospital, all of the foster care money goes with him to the hospital. If he goes into the hospital, all the foster care money goes with him. They did not want him to be hospitalized because it would cut their income. Why are they not on trial? Why aren't the foster parents not on trial? Why isn't the school system not on trial? Why isn't the superintendent, the IEP team, chair of the school board, or the county mental health assistance board? Why are they not on trial? Let me see. They failed him. They failed that boy for money. Let's continue. That's not unique to Brendan, but it is yet one more factor that interfered and delayed with care, with consequences we cannot readily measure. We eventually were approved by our insurance for autism residential treatment in South Carolina. We visited Brendan once a month. But due to COVID, these visits had to be halted. At the end of September 2020, my husband had a massive heart attack. Sorry to hear about that. Involving 100% blockage known as a widowmaker, but he thankfully survived. Brendan had to hear about it from hospital staff. He was extremely worried about his father. The hospital environment was chaotic, noisy, and dealing with COVID challenges. Under normal circumstances, we would have made arrangements for Brendan to spend weekends with us in a hotel as part of his discharge process and reintegration into our family. COVID precautions and my husband's health made that impossible. So basically, y'all sent them up there and forgot about him. And you're using your husband's heart attack to justify why y'all sent that boy to South Carolina and forgot about his ass. Let me continue. Brendan ended up staying at the facility for a whole year with only a few visits. They took him to South Carolina with all them problems and left him up there for a whole year with no visits. He did not receive the medication wash that we advocated for and had anticipated, a process that involves discontinuing all meds and starting anew in a controlled setting. Despite continuing to exhibit aggressive behavior in the hospital, the insurance company forced his discharge. It was out of our control. We were able to secure acceptance into the Agency for Persons with Disabilities and eventually found an intensive behavioral group home for him in November of 2020, the East Coast Habilitation Options Group Home in Palm Coast, Florida. It was 2.5 hours away from our own home near the West Coast. There were no closer options available. That too is one of the challenges of a labyrinth system with limitations at every turn. My husband and I took turns visiting him every 2 weeks, taking him on outings and arranging for brief stays away from the group home, even as COVID-related strictures stressed even our little time together. From the beginning of his time at Echo, I expressed my reservation about Brendan being placed in public school. I was told by Echo that Brendan had to attend public school because the Agency for Persons with Disabilities only covered day programs for clients who had graduated high school or turned 22. I was assured by the group home that they place all their clients in public school and that a crisis team was only 10 minutes away. It took a few months for the school to complete testing for the IEP. I would love to see that psychological evaluation. I would love to read the psychological evaluation that they did on Brendan when he left Echo to go to the Montazas High School. I want to read that psych report. I want to read that damn psych report. I want to see what they put in. I want to read the psych report. An IEP is a legally binding agreement that ensures a student's disability is accommodated in his or her education. For those with behavior challenges, there's also a behavior support plan in place to help reduce negative behaviors. But you didn't mention a functional behavioral assessment, you didn't mention a behavior specialist, and you didn't mention a one-to-one aid. IEP teams meet at least annually to review progress towards goals and set new ones. If any concerns arise, and the team can call an additional meeting to make necessary changes to the IEP. Our IEP team included the teacher, the behavioral analyst, the school staff specialist, district behavior specialist, school counselor, director, mental health counselor, behavior interventionist, private therapist, ECHO staff, APD, the coordinator, and me. Garvey Grenade. Garvey Grenade. Do you know why she taking time to list everybody who she claims was at the IEP meetings? Do you know why she taking time to list everybody who was there? She's trying to clear herself as the foster mom. And she's also trying to clear all the white school personnel. So nobody takes the fall for this except Brendan. You mean to tell me that you had the teacher, behavior analyst, school staff specialist, behavior specialist, school counselor, ESE director, mental health counselor, behavior interventionist, private therapist, ECHO staff, and that boy attacked the teacher over Nintendo? Really? Really? You want me to believe his needs were being met? You had 12 people coming to the meeting, but the boy was strung out on drugs, sitting in the class, not being taught nothing, and attacked the teacher for snatching his damn video game. If you don't get out of here with these lies, family, let me continue. I hope this is almost over. During the IEP meeting, everyone was told that removal of his electronics was a trigger. Whoa, did y'all hear that? All charges must be dropped. Listen to this. During the IEP meeting, everyone was told removal of his electronics was a trigger. She said the IEP team put it in the IEP. Removal of his electronics was a trigger that resulted in him having to be restrained. So why did the teacher's aide take the damn Nintendo? And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. And I'm sorry what happened to that woman. If she knew this, and she should have knew this, by law, she should have knew this because she's educating him. She was responsible for helping the teacher implement the IEP. And since she was responsible for helping the teacher implement the IEP, she should know his triggers. And if she knew that boy's triggers and snatched that video game, knowing that boy is triggered by having video games snatched out of his hand, how many of y'all think this teacher assistant knew? How many of y'all think the teacher assistant knew that the IEP team and the IEP said that removal of electronics was a trigger that will result in him having to be restrained? She also says it was also documented in the IEP that he can become overwhelmed and escalate quickly when he is frustrated or feels threatened. Where was the one-to-one aid? Where was the behavior specialist? Where is the behavior plan? Why wasn't he in a private school for disabled children? This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. And the lawyer didn't mention none of this? The lawyer didn't mention none of this? The lawyer didn't mention none of this? The foster parents didn't tell the judge none of this? The foster parents? You're going to let your son go to jail for 30 years and you know he's completely innocent? You're going to let your son go to jail for 30 years? Your black foster child? You're going to let your black foster child, who you've been hustling since infancy, your black foster child who you've been hustling since infancy, you're going to let your black foster child who you've been hustling since infancy go to jail for 30 years when you know he's completely innocent and is a victim himself? I'm not saying it because it's my book. I'm not saying it because it's my book. I'm not saying it because it's my book. I'm saying it because I wrote this book so you can save your damn kids. If his foster parents would have read this book, we wouldn't be having this conversation, because everything he's going through, I cover in this book. Everything he's going through, I cover in this book. Baltimore, Maryland, you better get your copy. Memphis, Tennessee, you better get your copy. Norwood, Massachusetts, you better get your copy. Omaha, Nebraska, you better get your copy. Kansas City, Kansas, you better get your copy. Delaware State University, Black Farmers Conference, you better get your copy. Let me finish the letter. DrUmarJohnson.com. Do not order it from any other website. DrUmarJohnson.com. Do not order it from any other website except Source of Knowledge, Newark, New Jersey. My website or Source of Knowledge, you can order it from my website or come to my lecture. Order it at the website or come to my lecture. Let's finish the letter, y'all. During the IEP meeting, everyone was told that removal of his electronics was a trigger that often resulted in him having to be restrained. It was also documented in his IEP that he can become overwhelmed and escalate quickly when he is frustrated or feels threatened. Here are direct citations from his IEP. Brendan's behavior can affect his ability to succeed in the classroom. Brendan can become overwhelmed if he is not given a task that he does not understand immediately. If he is given a task that he does not understand immediately, he can shut down when he becomes frustrated and anxious. When a directive is not explained to Brendan, he can become argumentative with teachers and refuses to comply. If he begins to escalate, he can become verbally and physically aggressive towards staff. If he begins to escalate, he can become verbally and physically aggressive towards staff. Brendan does not do well with competition. Losing a game can make him extremely upset and can lead to severe aggression. Once Brendan has escalated, it can be very difficult to bring him back to a base level. Even more relevant, here's what the IEP documents regarding the Nintendo Switch that was the trigger said. The IEP talks about the Nintendo video game. Listen to this, y'all. Echo said that he plays games at home from 5 to 7 and 8 to 10. Removing a game is definitely a trigger. If Brendan is playing a game and the house needs to take it away, they will call the crisis team before they ask for the game because there will be an incident requiring a restraint. The administrator said that this information would definitely be useful to know so the mental health system was aware of the problem. Did y'all hear that? The game itself was in the IEP as a trigger. Everybody knew taking his game was a trigger. Why did the teacher's aide take the damn game? She had to know. Everybody else knew. Everybody knew taking the game was a damn trigger. Why did she take the game out the boy's hand? Whew. Once he reaches this point, it can be challenging to bring him back to a calm state. An example of this occurred over Thanksgiving last year. We stayed at an Airbnb. Brendan came in off the porch crying. When I asked him what was wrong, he first stated that there wasn't any sun before melting into a heart-wrenching wail. It took over 30 minutes of him splashing water on his face and putting his face into the cold air of the freezer to calm his crying. It may not have been about the sun particularly. He said he hadn't been home in over 3 years and that he missed being with his family. Wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. He hadn't been home in over 3 years. He hadn't been home. What? Let me keep going. This is crazy. I got something blocking. Previously, he resisted our attempts to bring him closer to home because he'd been insistent on wanting to graduate from Matanzas High School. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Guess what I just figured out? Guess what I just figured out? He doesn't stay at home during the school year. He stay at the group home. So he's being bullied at the group home and bullied at school. They live 2 hours from the school. They left him in the group home. They left him at the group. So this whole time he was in the custody of the group home. So he was being mistreated at the group home and then going to school and being mistreated at the school. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is crazy. According to the IEP team, Brendan frequently talked about graduating and going to college, but still lacked the ability to understand the concept of accountability. Magical thinking led him to believe that he would always pass his classes with good grades, even when he wasn't completing the work. Living with contradictions is part of the challenges as the mother of a child with autism. But you dropped him off at the group home. You wasn't even there. Y'all only went to see him once Y'all only went to see him a couple times a year. Y'all neglected that boy while y'all was still getting paid for him. I was left with the feeling that Brendan temporarily seeing his home on the West Coast, yet not being able to remain, was too difficult. So she never brought him home. Y'all heard that? That was an excuse. She said, I was left with the feeling that temporarily taking him home, he would not be able to remain. Wait a minute. I was left with the feeling that Brendan temporarily seeing his home on the West Coast, yet not being able to remain, was too difficult. So she's making an excuse. She's saying she never took him home because it would be too difficult for him to go back to the group home. Y'all hear that? She never took him home because it would be too difficult for him to go. Why didn't you take him out of that school and put him in a school closer to your house? Matanzas is a failing high school. Flagrant school district is a Flagler school district is a failing school district. They only have 10% black kids. The teachers are racist. Why didn't you take him out and take his ass home? Because y'all didn't want to be bothered. Y'all only wanted the money. Y'all didn't want to be bothered. Y'all only wanted the money. Y'all didn't want to be bothered no more. Y'all only wanted the money. Let's continue. Damn. At the time of the incident at Matanzas, he was on 6 medications. At the time of the incident at Matanzas, he was on 6 medications. At the time of the incident in Matanzas, he was on 6 medications, all of which have devastating side effects. Bupropion, HCl, XL, irritability, false beliefs that cannot be changed by facts, clonidine, anxiety, false beliefs, irritability, mental depression, Zapraxidone, agitation, irritability, abnormal behavior, irritability, lamotrigine, agitation, irritability, Topamax, memory problems, concentration, tiredness, aggression, discouragement. Every drug I just named will make you angry, confused, and crazy. All these drugs taken together, listen, y'all, antipsychotics are the strongest drugs you can take. Mood stabilizers are the strongest drugs you can take. He was taking 6 at one time. I hope y'all understand this now. Antipsychotics are the strongest psychiatrics you can take. And he was taking mood stabilizers, and he was taking 6 of them. 6! If you need 6 antipsychotics, you don't belong in a regular public high school, especially not a poorly run, poorly resourced, racist public high school with less than 10% black teachers in it. You don't need that. Let's continue. Damn, I can't believe. And they told him to take a plea. The lawyer told him to take a plea. Does this sound like a kid who should have pled guilty? Does this sound like a kid who should have pled guilty, y'all? Does this sound like a kid who should have pled guilty? These are just one of the combination of trials and errors he's been on over the years. While each of these medications are meant to improve psychiatric conditions, they can make them worse. Of course they can make them worse. And you never fought for him to get off the medication. He was an exceptional student education. He was in an exceptional student education classroom, special ed, and had a paraprofessional. These classrooms are unique and require more specialized training. That teacher's aide ain't have no damn training. She didn't even read the IEP, because if she would have read the IEP would have told her you don't take the damn video game out the hand. It is a thankless job that is not compensated nearly as adequately as it should be for teachers or paraprofessionals, considering what's expected. The demand on, I don't want to hear about the teachers. Teachers must have a thorough understanding of extremely detailed document. She's defending the teachers. Defend your son. I don't hear about the teachers. Defend your son. Brendan attending a public school due to his triggers. I was partly reassured by the IEP process. What I didn't realize was that while the behavior plan looked good on paper, it would prove difficult to follow. So she's telling you they didn't follow the behavior plan. She's telling you they didn't follow the behavior plan. There was a reward system in place for students that managed their behavior. The team's IEP consisted of using a token economy. This allows students to purchase items out of the closet after delaying gratification by building up the number of tokens, but somehow the reward system shifted from the approved plan to utilizing or perhaps misapplying one of Brendan's known triggers. This year's teacher changed the overall reward system to allow students to access their electronics once they were done with their work, most likely not realizing that his teacher was going against the IEP. The teacher was going against the IEP. The teacher was going against the IEP. The teacher requested that Brendan's Nintendo Switch be sent into school daily. Time out. Wait a minute. Time out. No way. Did y'all hear what I just said? Did y'all? The teacher requested that Brendan's Nintendo Switch be sent into school daily. You mean to tell me the teacher asked for the video game that caused this whole situation? The teacher, oh my goodness, Lord, the teacher asked for the video game that caused the whole situation. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't read no more. That's it. Ooh, this thing is long. Woo! Woo! I couldn't have read all this. Wow. Let me give you the last 3 paragraphs, y'all. I'm skipping because it's too long. You can read it yourself if you want. Flaglerlive.com. Flaglerlive.com is the website. I'm going to read the final 3. Good question. Did the judge read this letter? Did the lawyer read this letter? Did the judge read this letter? Did the lawyer? Y'all going to send him to jail for 30 years? 30 years? I am deeply saddened when I read comments that call him a monster, encourage authorities to lock him up forever, and make suggestions to send him to prison with a jar of Vaseline. This is what white folks are saying about this black boy, y'all. Send him to jail with a jar of Vaseline. But y'all, they turned him into the monster. His foster parents turned him into a monster with the help of the mental health system and the school system of Florida. School to prison pipeline. School to prison pipeline. School to prison pipeline. He is a human. He is a boy on the spectrum. She keep talking about autism. That's the least problem. Autism ain't it, sweetheart. Drop that. That ain't what this is about. Emotional maturity of a 46-year-old has mental health issues, a family that loves him. He is a boy who, with support, normalization of hormones, that ain't got nothing to do with it, and treatment using the right combination of medicine, has the potential to improve. He was improving prior to this incident. He had made some progress towards behavioral goals. I doubt it. For example, when another student hit him, causing his glasses to fall off, he refrained from retaliating. Why did a kid knock his glasses off his face? What is going on? He's a special ed kid. They got to be protected. Why was another child allowed to knock his glasses off of his face? What is going on? They tried to make him drink they piss. They rubbed the ball on their balls and threw it. Additionally, when 2 other students were on the verge of a physical altercation, Brendan stepped in and prevented the situation from escalating until adults could intervene. He demonstrated self-restraint in situations that did not involve his known triggers. I repeat that our thoughts remain with Miss Nadich without qualifications, but now that you know both sides of the story, I kindly ask, as Brendan's mother, for your empathy and understanding, not only for our son's unfortunate situation, but for all children who are suffering from developmental and mental health conditions. And she is an occupational therapist. His white foster mom is an occupational therapist. You know what that means? She's not the psychologist, but you work close enough with the psychologist to know your black foster son was not being taken care of properly. If you are an OT, if you are an occupational therapist, you know the system. You know the system. How did you let this happen to this innocent boy? And you know the system. I'm going to tell you who's responsible for that teacher getting beat. His foster parents are responsible for the teacher getting beat. The principal and the IEP team and the director of special ed are responsible for that teacher getting beat. And I'm going to give her the lowest amount of blame, but she got to get some too. I don't condone what happened to her. It was wrong, but it's not Brendan's fault. It was his foster parents and the school's fault. That special ed teacher, the assistant, she knew his trigger. She knew his trigger because she has to know the IEP in order to implement it. She knew his trigger and she snatched the video game anyway. If I was the judge, foster parents would be on trial. Teacher assistant would be on trial. Teacher would be on trial. Principal would be on trial. IEP team would be on trial. Superintendent, director of special ed, the ECHOS program, State Department of Education, every therapist he's ever had, the psychiatrists, all the psychiatrists, they need to go to jail and lose their license. All the psychiatrists need to go to jail and lose their license. All the psychiatrists need to go to jail and lose their license. Brothers and sisters, only one good thing came out of this tonight. Only one good thing came out of this tonight. You want to know what that is? Before I let y'all go. You know what came out of this tonight? The only good thing that came out of this tonight? It reminded me why I do what I do. It reminded me why I go through all the grueling hours of packing, unpacking, going to the airport, flying, driving, putting up with this, putting up with that, to travel this world, educating our parents. That's the only good thing. This case reminded me why I wrote this book. This case reminded me why I became a certified school psychologist. This case just reminded me why I'm coming to Baltimore, why I'm going to Nat Turner Land, why I'm going to Norwood, Massachusetts, why I'm going to Omaha, Nebraska. This case is just reminded why I'm going to Kansas City. I was just reminded why I inconvenienced myself to come to you, to teach you how to save our children. I have just been recommitted, rebaptized as the 5-star general in the psychoacademic army to resist the school to prison pipeline. That's the good thing that came out of this. I just remembered, in case I was forgetting, what my job is. I might got to go to law school, but I can't afford it. I might got to go back to law school, but I can't afford it. If anybody plans on going to Brother Brendan's sentencing hearing, please text me. I would like us to all go out to eat. I want us to meet up and go together so we can look out for each other. That's number one. If you go and text my phone, only if you're serious, text my phone. I'm going to choose a place for us to meet up. We might meet up the night before just to meet everybody and then come back to the courtroom the next day. And we're going to go. And I need somebody to find out if I can make a statement, because I would love to make a statement if I could, because this is insane. This is insane. I cannot believe that this is happening, that this boy was told to plead guilty. This boy was deemed competent to stand trial. Does 6 psychiatric meds sound like he's competent to stand trial to you? Does 6 psychiatric meds sound like he's competent to stand trial to you? Does 6 psychiatric meds sound like he's competent to stand trial to you? So again, those of y'all who want to go, please text me the info. I hope somebody said, I'm going to be very disappointed. I've been on here for 3 hours tonight. I'm going to be very disappointed if I go on my phone and I don't see a date, time, and an address for this boy's hearing after being with you for 3 hours. Sometimes y'all really piss me off because I ask y'all for little things and y'all don't even do the little things. I also asked for a couple people to do a couple flyers for me because I don't think I should have to pay for no damn flyers to advertise me coming to teach you how to save your children. So I'm hoping I got a couple designers out there. You could put your logo on the flyer. You designed it. I don't have a problem with you spreading your brand because you're helping me out. But if there's anybody who can spare a flyer, I can use the flyers. I'm tired of paying for flyers. I shouldn't have to do that. paying to come teach you how to save your kids. I shouldn't have to do that. If you need the flyer for Baltimore, HBCU, Delaware State, Memphis, Tennessee, Norwood, Florida, Omaha, Nebraska, Kansas City, Kansas, I could text you the information. I don't have the flyers yet. I need somebody to make some flyers for me. If you need to reach me, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. This is your big brother King Kong Consciousness signing out. Peace and Pan-Africanism.